Investigations channel. Welcome into the stream. We're just going to go ahead and cover this story regarding Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, who are going to be deposed by the New York Office of the Attorney General. Remember the investigation that started out from insurance fraud, right? And it's not like you're the normal insurance fraud that you may be familiar with, where people, make things disappear, drive their cars into the lake, and then go file that it was lost or stolen, run it into a wall, put some kind of stick on the gas pedal. Hey, third eye. No, it's not that type of insurance fraud. We're talking about the type of insurance fraud where, oh no, here's all my beautiful assets. Now, how can we actually inflate their actual worth? Haven't said, tell the wifey I said hello, babe. There is a tactic that they've used to inflate the worth of these assets. And Donald Trump was using a lot of these inflated numbers, to make his so-called net worth. Listen, I don't think Donald Trump's worth $2.5 billion at all. Oh, no. He would love for us to believe he's worth $2.5 billion. And I'm not saying the man ain't rich, okay? But I'm telling you, the man's fat. He's overweight, okay? Them two little ass pants that he be wearing. And he's not worth what he claims that he is worth. Now, Donald Trump's former finance, the company that kept his books, that kept his records, have now flipped on him. Yeah. They say they are going to work with the New York Attorney General's office and are going to help provide them with whatever information that they may need against their former client, who was Donald Trump. Amazing. Amazing. Now, in this particular matter, because so many news agencies are talking about this, listen, I just want to bring y'all in on what's going on.
The name of my accounting firm is, well, it's me. It's Saliza Accountants, Inc. It's a great name, very creative. In mid-February, Donald Trump's longtime accountants made a very important announcement. They no longer stood behind a decade of the former president's financial information and would no longer be working for or with him. So why is this such a big deal? Well, the language from Mazars, the accounting firm, masks it a little bit. So let me translate. What they're saying is that neither Trump nor anyone who interacts with Trump should rely on their assessments of his relative financial health over the past decade. The firm is, in effect, jumping off what looks like a sinking ship. And they are doing so at least partially because of information that has come to light as part of an ongoing investigation by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who is a Democrat. Quote, "We have come to this conclusion based in part upon the filings made by the New York Attorney General on January 18th, 2022, our own investigation, and information received from internal and external sources," Mazars wrote in a letter to the Trump Organization chief legal officer, advising the organization to no longer rely on financial statements ending June 2011 through June 2020. "We know that James is looking into allegations that Trump's organization both over and undervalued assets in order to win favorable terms on loans and the like. In a court filing in January, James's office suggested it had come across information, quote, indicating that the Trump organization used fraudulent or misleading asset valuations to obtain a host of economic benefits, including loans, insurance coverage, and tax deductions, end quote. The Trump organization, for what it's worth, denies those claims and is currently seeking to freeze the James investigation. But the decision by Mazars appears to be an attempt to protect itself from possible legal entanglements related to Trump. Their desire to wash their hands of Trump comes across bluntly in this part of their statement. Quote, "While we have not concluded that the various financial statements as a whole contain material discrepancies, based upon the totality of the circumstances, we believe our advice to you to no longer rely upon those financial statements is appropriate," end quote. In essence, what they're saying is this: we haven't found any specific examples of under or overvaluation yet, but we believe Letitia James and want to get as far away from any blame in this situation as humanly possible. And we want everyone who relied on the financial statements provided by our firm to know they should pretty much stop doing that. The decision by Mazars further isolates Trump as he faces a series of sticky legal problems. Consider that in addition to the James investigation, Trump faces the following. Number one, the new Manhattan District Attorney told CNN in December that he plans to focus on the high-profile probe into Trump's business practices and may even expand his investigative team. As CNN's Kara Scannell reported at the time, quote, the investigation, which has been underway for several years, appears to be coming to a head with prosecutors focusing on the accuracy of the Trump organization's financial statements when seeking financing. People familiar with the matter have told CNN, end quote. Number two, E. Jean Carroll is pursuing a defamation lawsuit in regards to her allegation that Trump raped her in the 1990s. Trump has denied that allegation. The case is still being litigated. In December, a 3-judge federal appeals court questioned lawyers for both Carroll and for Trump. Number three, Mary Trump, the niece of the former president and author of the scathing book Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, sued Trump in 2020, alleging that he, his sister, and his late brother had committed fraud to keep her from getting her fair share of the estate of Trump's father, Fred Sr. In January, a New York state judge heard Trump's request to dismiss the case. We're almost halfway there. Number four, several Democratic lawmakers and police officers are suing Trump for his alleged role in the insurrection of January 6, 2021. And a House Select Committee continues to look into Trump's actions tied to that day. Number five, in Georgia, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is looking into Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state. Quote, this is a criminal investigation. We're not here playing a game, Willis told CNN recently, adding, I plan to use the power of the law. We are all citizens. Number six, the Justice Department is looking into a scheme to seat fake electors favorable to Trump in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, a Democrat, has noted that forgeries of public records and election records carry with them up to 2 decades in jail, according to state law. Nessel referred the investigation to the Department of Justice. And number seven, former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen is suing Trump, alleging that the former president had him put in jail to keep him from promoting his book, which took a decidedly dim view of the former president. Now, in addition to all of that, there are ongoing questions surrounding 15 boxes of White House materials that the National Archives had to take back from Trump, who had transported the documents to Mar-a-Lago. There's also, of course, as I mentioned, the ongoing investigation by the House Select Committee into the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The legal walls continue to close in on Trump, and they serve as a reminder that the biggest impediment to Trump running again for president in 2024 is a legal one, not a political one. And that is the point. We make New Point episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Check them all out.
Ouch. Ouch. Fucking ouch, man. When I tell you that Donald Trump is under, but we knew this was going to happen, didn't we? We've talked about Donald Trump. We talked about Donald Trump before he got elected. I was out on the entire campaign. Remember, listen, man. More than anything, all this stuff that has been coming out about Donald Trump. I did a documentary that was aired in 90 countries regarding his sexual assault of women. And there is a list that is floating. I've talked about it only once before on this channel. There is a list of lawsuits that Donald Trump settled. Okay. Lawsuits of sexual assault against children. Not to mention the fact that I was one of the very, very few bloggers that had the opportunity to work with some of his accusers. There was one. She was only 13 years old when she says that Donald Trump raped her. She was tied to a bed. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were there when this rape happened. Donald Trump was the one that she accused of doing it. She later did an interview with Inside Edition. She also sued Donald Trump. But listen, there's just so much. But there was one thing that we noticed in the list of names that we were able to get our hands on. Of course, I must give props to Anonymous because Anonymous is responsible for that leak. Out of all the lawsuits, I think it was like 11 that were settled, right? We were kind of going through all these settlements, looking at the amount that was settled, boy or girl, because there was a few boys, not many, but more so girls, but boys. Hey, Kathy. Oh, yeah. It's the only place that particular material currently lives is on Facebook. There was a young lady in which her lawsuit was settled. But the thing about her lawsuit is it's unusual in the fact that the amount that was settled was significantly larger. And there's also rumor that she carried to term a child that Donald Trump has absolutely never claimed. And that's not the only child that it has been rumored that Donald Trump fathered that he never ever claimed. There's also discussion and talk and rumor about a child that was born to him over 20 years ago, a girl. Her identity, she's not really made it a point to come out and put her identity all out there. She is a girl, and she swears up and down Donald Trump is her father. Her mother had a long-standing affair with Donald Trump. I don't know if Donald Trump's ever been faithful to any wife that he's ever had. I don't really give a fuck, honestly. But it's like you could have any woman in the world with all the money you got. Look at this Russian wife. I mean, it was such a smack in so many of our faces. Listen, I'm just going to be real with you. There's something to really be said about not being born in this country and then somehow landing a position in the fucking White House. And that is exactly how people felt about Melania then. And that's how they feel about her now. She came from out of the pits of fucking the Baltics out there, okay? The way she got her green card wasn't even proper, yet he was trying to crack down on all these immigrants that were coming into our country, yet he's laying down with a woman. He helped her get in here, her green card. She absolutely stayed past her green card time. But listen, I'm not here to talk about Melania. She might sue me. Take that down. You're not allowed to talk about me. You don't talk about me. I know I'm in the public. She never wanted to be a part of the White House. That's the thing. Like, she absolutely got thrown into it. And I understand that. But hey, you should have just stayed in New York. You should have never came to Washington then. You even gave it a whole fake attempt to try to not to mention the fact that Donald Trump's fucking son, okay, one of them looks like that fucking American Psycho, okay? One looks like American Psycho. The other one looks like a translucent fucking ghost. Listen, I don't have no respect for none of them. None of them. They're all disgusting. All of them can go fuck themselves. Absolutely disgusting. Money has made them just pigs. And Ivanka Trump doesn't get to escape that criticism either with her fake ass. She's beyond fake too. Her husband owns 666 Main Street. The fuck? You want some Illuminati or satanic worship, or what do they call it? Sacrifices? Y'all, it'd be some really, really weird, wacky stuff going on with some of these people that just have uber amounts of money. Again, one of the ways that these very wealthy people do, it's not about like making an asset disappear, right? And saying, oh, it got stolen, or oh, it got lost, and then making a claim on it. No. I want you to see this beautiful asset. I'm going to inflate its price, because if I inflate its price, then I can turn around and get a loan on it for such and such, but it's really not worth such and such. That's about the most memorable thing that she's ever did. Third Eye was she was a fucking Russian playmate, and I'm just being real about that. They can lift Melania up like she's some kind of saint, but she stood by while her husband literally helped to like destroy our country for the whole fucking 4 years he was in office. It's a tragedy then, it's a tragedy now. And when he didn't win the fucking election, he tried to get people to lie for him. He tried to get more ballots with his name on it. He tried to they were out here doing all sorts of illegal shit, trying to get the Georgia election leader to overturn the election results. He wanted another 4 years in office. But you know why? More than anything, he probably wanted that additional 4 years in office. Not that he was doing a great job or anything. He knew what was going to happen when he left office. These people were going to sink their teeth into his ass. Look how he did Michael Cohen. Look how he did Michael Cohen, his faithful servant. The man that came out, he was his fucking personal lawyer all the way from the Trump organization, all the way into the White House. And then when the heat started getting hotter and hotter, he threw Michael Cohen away like it wasn't shit. Michael Cohen, it was, I almost wanted to slap him sometimes, like, wake up, wake up. And I'm glad he fucking woke up. But let me tell you something. If there's anybody to watch, if there's absolutely anybody that you all should be watching, you need to keep your eyes on Michael Cohen. He knows where all the bodies are buried. Remember when they came in and, when they came in and the FBI raided his house, right? Looking for his hard drive. Donald Trump threw him away. He was so faithful to him. But that is all changing. He doesn't have the protection of the office of the President of the United States. He doesn't have that anymore. There is no immunity right now. All that talk about granting him and his children blanket immunity. It's absolutely disgusting what power will do to some of these people and how they abuse it. Donald Trump has now been ordered to testify under oath in the investigation of the Trump Foundation. He has been told that he will absolutely have to come in and testify. He's going to have to raise his right hand. He's going to have to babble like he always does. Putin is where he is today because of Donald Trump. For 4 years, Donald Trump didn't put any pressure on Putin. It was almost like a reprieve for Vladimir Putin. Of course, Putin wanted him to get another 4 years. He damn sure didn't want to see Hillary Clinton in there. And Biden, oh God, it's just as bad. Just as bad for him. But Donald Trump has been told he must testify.
A federal judge, we are being told, has ruled that former President Donald Trump and his two eldest children, Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr., must answer questions now under oath in the civil investigation the former president faces in New York. The subpoenas were issued in December of last year. You may remember it sought more information into his business practices, leading to this development. Now, Trump and his two children will supposedly sit for a deposition in the next 21 days. Joining us now with the latest on this development, ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky. So, Aaron, let's just start with how big a deal this is, because as we know, we've been through this with Donald Trump before, where he's been asked to come to court or come to testify, or he's been subpoenaed, and there's been questions surrounding his business practices. Put into perspective, are we actually going to see Donald Trump take the stand?
Well, he's going to have to sit for a deposition. He's not going to necessarily take a witness stand at trial if things get that far, but he's going to have to sit for a deposition at least. Whether he actually answers any questions is, uncertain at this point. The judge said that in rejecting his argument to quash the subpoena, that, he was overlooking the salient fact that he's got an absolute right to refuse to answer questions that he claims may incriminate him. So it's certainly possible that when he sits for the deposition, he's not going to be terribly cooperative with the New York Attorney General's office, but the judge said he does indeed have to sit for it.
So it's possible he will sit down and not take the fifth. He won't say anything.
In fact, his son, Eric Trump, when I think it's more than a year ago now, he invoked his right against self-incrimination in response to more than 500 questions during his one-day deposition. So it's certainly possible that former President Trump, his eldest son, Don Jr., and Ivanka Trump, who were all subpoenaed to testify, could do the same thing and just say, I plead the fifth.
All right. And so it continues. Aaron, thank you. Appreciate you calling in with.
I plead the fifth. You already know he's going to do a lot of that. But listen, before I get out of here, allow me to make a prediction. Donald Trump will never spend a single day in a jail cell. Not one. I think that if it ever comes to that, I think he would rather kill himself. Until next time.